Quite a few of you in the group have had some questions about this little device here. This is called an Xlock, comes from a company called Safe Extract. Safe Extract's run by a guy named Chris Cole, president of the International Four-Wheel Drive Trainers Association. Really slick little piece of kit. Takes a little bit of explanation of one, how do I use it? Two, why do I use it? One, I've got an advanced recovery class coming up on Sunday where I'll be using this in the field. I'll shoot some video for you guys, get it out to you so you can actually see this thing in use and get the how. Today I want to talk a little bit about the why. One of the main things this Xlock can do is shorten a winch extension line. I can do this for a variety of reasons. I might need an anchor off of the rear at a specific length. I don't have that exact piece of rope in my kit. I can take that rope down to a third of its length, basically. So I can take a 100-foot rope down to about 35 feet. I need to stay out of that splice portion, so I'm not quite down to a third, but pretty darn close. Advantages this gives me. I know it was brought up in some of the comments talking about this, where why don't I just run, 150 feet on my winch, and I can still have all that same length and hook anywhere I want to. We can all agree that the winch, the more line it puts onto the drum, the less capacity it loses. We typically teach about a 10 to 15% loss in capacity per layer on the drum. So the more line I put on there, the less that winch can pull, and results in a pretty significant loss in strength if I'm running a really long line in here. So let's set this up two ways. One, right here, we're gonna say we have that 150 feet of line on this winch here. Over here, we're gonna be using the Xlock with a shorter line, let's say 50 feet on the drum, just nice round number, and take that extra 100 feet and add that as an extension. If I use that extension line a size up, so say I run right now a 7/16 inch rope on my winch, I can add a 1/2 inch line to that, and now I can pull on a double line with it. So 150 feet of line, we have now 150 feet of reach in a single line pull, 50 feet of reach. I put that extension on, I get that 150 feet of reach coming out of the same thing. Now, we want to look at a double line pull with these same two lines. For that 150 feet of line, I can now go out 75 feet back to my vehicle for a double line pull in that situation. With the Xlock, I can now, with that 50 feet, run out 25, back 25, that gives me 25 feet of reach there. Now with that 100-foot extension, now I extend my reach out, I can get out to now 125 feet with that, so I can get a much longer line with it. Xlock hasn't come into play yet. I don't always have that tree or that anchor point exactly where I need it. So now I can get all the way down to the base layer on my drum, get the maximum pull out of my winch, and I can take this 100-foot extension and shorten anywhere down to about here, to about 35 feet with it. So say I needed to pull that entire length. I can now, with that 50 feet on my drum, gives me typically about 3 layers. So I'm only dealing with a 20, maybe 30% reduction in pull strength. I'm still at a 10,000 pound winch, able to pull 7,000 pounds with that. Where with the 150 feet on the winch, I am now, by the time I get down there, running 6, maybe 7 layers on there, looking at a 60, maybe 80% reduction in pull strength. A 10,000 pound winch may only possibly be pulling 2,000 pounds by the time we're done, give us a total pull of about 4,000 pounds on the end of it. Where with this in place, I'm still able, with the double line pull, to pull 14,000 pounds with it as I get all of that line onto the drum. Sure, it's a shorter pull. Typically, we only need to move the vehicle about a vehicle length to get it out of its stuck situation and into a little better footing. If that's not the case, and I needed to do repeated pulls with it, I could start off with that 100-foot line, do my 25-foot pull with my double line pull, shorten it up down to 75 feet, really quick and easy. I'll show you how to use this in the field when I get out there in a couple days. Now I have 100 foot of reach there, pull again, down to 75 feet, reset again, reset again. Happens very quick. I don't need to search for a new anchor point. I don't need to re-rig any of that thing. I don't need to re-rig my tree strap, any of my connections there. All I am doing is taking the line, flipping it around the thimble, form a little loop in a line. I'll show you how I'll do this. And shorten that line up with the Xlock. I have zero loss in line strength with it due to the thickness of it. This can fit up to a 1/2 inch line, and it maintains that 1.5 times minimum bend radius till we really see a significant loss in line strength. Slick little tool. Shortening the line's one of the big uses of it. I can set fixed bridle points. I can in a big hurry. Doesn't really make a lot of sense for a lot of the recreational folks, but folks in competition, folks in combat, I can in 10, 20 seconds reattach a broken winch line to a point where it will hold a load and pull. I can also belay a vehicle by hand with this. I'll shoot some videos of that for you coming up this weekend. If I need to get that disabled vehicle down through a set of obstacles, I can hold that truck with 2 fingers with this thing, set up a pulley to give me a mechanical advantage on it, and very easily, without a lot of effort, get that thing down through the obstacles it needs to. Very slick little piece of kit. Shoot any questions you got in the comments. I will be out in the field with it all day Sunday, and I can kind of shoot some videos to address those, but hope this helps clear up a couple questions with it.